Chairman Hamacek, Cabinet Ministers, distinguished colleagues and guests, Vitam vas všechny. Welcome to you all. Tamar and I are so happy to have you here to celebrate Independence Day with us. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge the terrible events in Istanbul over the last 24 hours. Our sympathies are with all who are affected. You know, as President Obama said, that international airport through which many of us have traveled, like the airport in Brussels, is a real symbol of our interconnectedness and the ties that bind us. So all of our thoughts are with the people affected. Now, as you might have heard, the United States has an election coming up in November. And I'm not supposed to talk about that. But today I'm going to make an exception. And I'm going to give you a prediction. So here's my prediction. My prediction is that regardless of the election results, Czech-American relations will remain vital, deep, and strong. Now, it has been 240 years since the people of the American colonies announced that they would no longer be ruled by a king, and that instead they would chart their own path. And this was a path based on some revolutionary ideas. The idea that people should choose their own government, the idea that all people have certain basic rights and should be equal under the law. So we celebrate 240 years of independence, but today I also want to speak about an idea that was just as important to our founders and remains especially important right now. And that is our interdependence. Our interdependence as nations and our interdependence as citizens. It's an idea that appears in the Declaration of Independence itself, which ends with the words, "We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor." Now, in the early days of our republic, the American colonies might as well have been different countries. They had their own cultures. They had different religious leanings. They had vastly different economies. Some of the colonies even had their own currencies. Does that sound familiar? But these differences were less important than what tied them together: the values of liberty and democracy that defined the new nation. And now I have visited all 14 Czech kraje, and as I have traveled around this country, I've seen how much the US-Czech relationship is defined by partnership and interdependence. I have met entrepreneurs from Cheb to Zlín and everywhere in between. They do business with the United States, and I have watched as the United States has become the largest non-EU investor in the Czech Republic, and I am pleased to say that we are also the Czech Republic's largest market for exports outside of Europe. I've also visited Czech soldiers in Prostějov, in Vyškov, and Hranice. I visited them in Afghanistan too, and I've seen their professionalism and their discipline. I've seen our partnership on display as Czech citizens welcome American soldiers crossing this country in convoys, and as Czech officers command large and important exercises involving thousands of NATO troops. And finally, I've seen the very best kind of interdependence when I have visited NGOs and community groups from Ostrava to Ústí, from Pardubice to Jihlava to Prague. Groups of citizens working for progress on issues like the environment, transparency, minority civil rights, the resettlement of refugees, and the needs of the disabled. These groups understand that when we join together, we can do so much more than we can alone. Now, Václav Havel had a word for this interdependence. He called it co-responsibility, spoluodpovědnost. And spoluodpovědnost applies to individuals and to countries, because our world is more interconnected than ever, and today's problems are too complex to be solved by any single nation. Our own experience in the United States has taught us we must remain fully engaged with our allies and partners so that we can solve these problems together. And as Europe faces its own challenges today, it enjoys U.S. support and confidence more than ever. And I can promise you that at this sensitive time, we will continue to work with all of our European partners to ensure continued stability, security, and prosperity in Europe and beyond. Most importantly, I am tremendously pleased that we can work so closely and depend upon our great friends, the Czechs, to address with us the world's most significant challenges. So in closing, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank our magnificent embassy teams, which make all of this possible. I want to thank the sponsors of today's reception for their generous contributions. Also, we held an Independence Day video contest open to the public this year, and we have the winners with us today. I want to congratulate them. Also, we have a photo booth, a ping pong table, an air hockey table up here. I invite you to enjoy it. And finally, I have to mention a great American company, Harley-Davidson, which has set up a wonderful display of modern and classic motorcycles here by the terrace, a symbol of the finest American craftsmanship. I invite you to come take a look at them, take a few photos, and please enjoy the afternoon.